Hi folks, welcome back to A Life Well Spent. This is a channel where I document my financial journey, and I do that through like a monthly budget videos. I do a budget wrap up, and I actually do kind of a weekly budget check-in to keep myself on track and keep myself or hold myself accountable. I am a single woman. I own my own home in that I pay a mortgage on it. I don't actually own it yet. The bank still technically owns most of it. But in being single, that that creates its own problems sometimes, or some problems, I guess, struggles, and some hurdles that you have to get through in some way. And for me, it was going online and trying to find a community of like-minded people who can help hold my feet to the fire, because I don't have anybody. I'm not accountable to anybody. I don't have to come home at the end of the day and be like, oh, this is the money I spent somewhere. It's all on me. So that's the reason I started this channel. I wanted to take better control of my finances. And this week's video is actually one of my weekly wrap-up videos. I'm filming this 3 days later than I should have, but life has been super crazy busy and I just have not had a chance to sit down and do it. So let's get into the video. Okay, so probably should have put it up top. So here is my current budget for April, and all of these expenses that I've actually registered will just be for this, since it's the first week. I haven't actually put in anything in here except the 8th I got paid. So basically everything in here that's expenses is all from the first week. So my giving fund, so I send $10 out of, put it in my budget. What I do is 10 of it definitely goes out from somewhere else. It goes out of my checking account. The rest of it goes over to my second checking account and I pay for things out of there. And I stupidly, when I was paying for something, I wasn't... my PayPal account is linked to it, and I was like, oh, I can just do this through PayPal. I'll do that. And without thinking like, oh crap, now that money's going to come out of the wrong spot. So essentially what happens is the money goes over into a giving fund, and a certain amount will come out then as the month goes. And so some of that is like things I'm going to contribute to regularly, and some of it is, things for like giving opportunities that come up. In this case, I actually have a note here. Somebody that I work with lost her husband from COVID, and it was really sad and really awful. So some of the giving money is going to be sent to her. We were all kind of pitching in and, getting her some things to kind of help her out. So, but that's the idea of the fund. I wanted to be able to have that money on hand because that kind of stuff doesn't necessarily, you don't plan for like, oh wow, somebody really needs something. And so, hang on, I'm gonna reach and get my water here. I wanted to have kind of a fund of money that like didn't throw my budget off in any way, so that I was able to just readily give. And that's been kind of the big driver there. So in the first month, I have my bills set up so that like on the first day of the month, almost every single bill comes out. With the exception of my cell phones, because they don't actually clear until the like 5th of the month. But usually within the first week, all of my utilities, my mortgage, all that kind of stuff all comes out. All the bills are paid within the first week of the month. And then the rest of it is just kind of me keeping control of my spending. So my mortgage, my electric bill, my natural gas bill, which is going to come down more and more and more because I'm at the point now where it's getting a little cold every once in a while in the evening and the heat kicks on, but I have it set down now to like 65, so it shouldn't be kicking on all that often. So really the only gas I'm going to be using is if I'm using, I cook, and my oven is gas as well, so that will be the only use of that probably from now on. I can't imagine it's going to be super cold to like kick on the heat. I get to a point where I just turn the furnace off altogether because it's plenty warm and I'd rather put a sweater on than just use more gas. So my sewer, that's a flat rate. My water is that's like a flat minimum. If I go over it, I'll get charged by whatever, but I rarely ever even get to that. That said, I am going to try to do some different things. I'm looking at getting drip tubing for the flower beds in the front of my house and possibly even my garden. I don't know how I can manage that. That's a long distance to go from where my hose is to where the garden is. So I don't know, I guess is all I can really say. I don't know what I'm going to end up doing with that. I think I'd like to. My water might go up to about 25, maybe 30 tops when I have my garden going and I'm watering it daily, but it's not typically much higher than that. Garbage, I actually pay my garbage once a year, so I have it here as a line item budget, but what happens is that $15 goes into a sinking fund so that it's ready to pay at the end of the year. Usually like December, I think I get the bill. My internet is $125. That's internet and television, and I actually don't really watch TV. Like I watch stuff on Hulu, I watch stuff on Netflix, but I rarely ever even turn on my cable box. But my mom and I are trying to figure out a sort of shared system, and to be perfectly honest, I would probably get rid of it entirely if it wasn't for the Big Ten Network. If I was able to get like regular live Big Ten Network stuff, because my dad really likes to watch like football, wrestling, things like that, and he would be really bothered by not being able to watch it. So we're sort of stuck with something to that effect. But that is actually, the TV portion of that is split between my mom and I because they just kind of stream like what they want to stream. And there's not really, like I said, pretty much just anything on the Big Ten Network. Like my dad doesn't watch Big Ten Network all day long, but like he can find a substitute for just about anything he might want to watch on television except Big Ten sports. And really just Penn State sports, to that effect. But I might figure out a way to just kind of do like, well, we can't even really do like just a football season or just a whatever because it's football season and wrestling season for him at the very least. Okay, our cell phone bill has dropped. So I actually ended up spending a little bit less. So it's $43.34. We weren't actually sure what it was going to look like because the bill that we had included my mom's cell phone payments, and last month she paid her phone off. So we were like, I don't know what the adjustment's going to be. And I think I'm just going to kind of keep budgeting for $45, only because if the tax rate or a fee rate or something happens to change, it'll still kind of cover that. So we're good there. Groceries, I kind of got that's a lot of groceries for 1 week. And I actually don't recall what I got. Isn't that terrible? It hasn't even been that long. I don't quite recall what I got that ended up being so much. I got like one thing for my mom, but probably because I went into multiple places. I did go to Sam's Club, and I forget if I got anything from Sam's Club or not, but anyway, not the greatest starts for the month. My life insurance, like it's kind of auto drafted out of my account. House and garden, I have gone and bought some things, $76.50. I bought some more seed starting stuff and some more seeds. And I think I bought, this is terrible. This wasn't even that long ago, and I honestly can't remember what I got. Yeah, when people say they spend money, they don't even remember. This is it. This is it. So I ordered something. It might have been a cleaning product. I'd have to double check. Something I wanted to clean the house to kind of like deep clean and crevices and stuff, but I feel like that was maybe less than. Restaurant money, $18.63. I did up that this month because I anticipated on taking a road trip, and what I wanted to get from the store is now out, so I don't even know if I'm going to make that trip. However, I'm going to try to stay under $40 then unless I go on that trip, but I have already spent another $12, which will be in next week's video. We found a new place to eat. And my personal $2.99 that right now is just my iCloud storage subscription. So I did pay my student loan payment, moved all of this money into sinking funds that goes into actually a separate checking account. I do that because I find that to be easier and more peaceful for me to know that like I have moved that aside and it's there for when I need it. And we will go from there. I've been having a conversation with some friends about sinking funds and how to, because this friend was worried that like if they started to live on a budget and, they have all of this stuff planned out and maybe they already spend money on things and, it turns out that, oh no, they need something, something they hadn't really thought about or, she was having a difficult time sort of conceptualizing. They have uh, they do like pest control like 3 times a year or 4 times a year, something like that. And, and then they were like, but then, the time like when our insurance is due and things like that. And I was like, yeah, but those things are coming to fruition and that's what sinking funds are for. And if you don't know what sinking funds are, they are literally just a fund where you are piling up the money that you're going to need for something. These are things that you regularly pay for and things that you regularly, like if you're an HOA and you pay it like every 6 months, or I pay my car insurance every 6 months. So rather than in 6 months having a bigger bill for my car insurance and having to figure out, oh my gosh, I have this $500 bill. Well, my insurance is not that much, but I feel like that seems reasonable for most people if they have like 2 cars in their family. But oh my God, all of a sudden I have $500 that I have to figure out how to budget for. Well, you don't because you've budgeted all along a little bit at a time. So for me, I do $59 a month so that when I get to the end of 6 months, I have enough in there to pay the bill. So I don't have to sit there and worry about, oh my God, how am I going to pay? And I think mine's normally like anywhere between $3 and $3.50. It dropped last year, like I think everybody's did because of the pandemic, but I expect that they'll try to make that back. But at any rate, so when that time comes and when I get that bill, I'm perfectly fine because I have already set that money aside. I do the same thing with garbage. Now my garbage bill is only like, I don't know, it's like 150, 160, something like that. Because I only do 1 bag a week because I live alone. And with recycling, I honestly could probably get away with 1 bag every 2 weeks, except I don't want garbage sitting in my house for 2 weeks and having it rot. So that's kind of gross. And realistically, I already have to have kind of like a garbage bag containery thing in my refrigerator so that like something I throw out isn't getting smelly and gross in my kitchen by the time I'm actually able to take my garbage out. So that's life when you live alone, I guess. But anyway, so that bill's really small and I could easily make do and figure out a way to do that, but why? I don't really want to. So, if they offered the year billing, I could do month to month. But I chose the year because I figured they're going to give me a discount with that. And, I do the same thing with my car repair fund. I put $50 a month in to deal with any kind of issues that come up with my car. I had to put tires on my car in November. I think I did it in November. I knew last year when I got my car inspected, or rather, I guess the year before, I got my car inspected and they said that the tires passed, but just barely. And the guy was like, you're going to want to replace these. So then I upped, the money I was putting in there at one point. I think I was probably doing closer to like 75 so that I had enough money in there saved up for the year to put tires on right before I got my car inspected. And, that was easier than saying all of a sudden, oh my God, I know I need to put tires on this car. So that's definitely something that you want to make room for in your budget and track so that you have the peace of mind of knowing that when, you have to put new tires on your car, or when, if you know that your car is getting up there in years and you think, probably going to have to replace the engine in a couple of years, or probably going to have to get a new car in a couple of years. That's fine. Start saving for it now so that when that car dies, when those tires need to be replaced because it won't pass inspection otherwise, you can say, you know what? I have saved the money for that, and it doesn't freak you out. It gives you such peace of mind to have these kinds of funds. And for me, and I was telling this to some of my friends, I put it in a separate account so that I don't even think about spending it. I'm doing a pretty good job of keeping control of my finances. And I know some people kind of just track this stuff all in their own bank account or all under one bank account. Um, I think, I mean, you can do that. But for me, it's easier to be like, those things that I need to create sinking funds for, I'd rather keep track of them in an account that's completely separate from everything else, separate from my emergency fund, separate from my, you know, my regular checking account or anything like that. So I need to keep it separate from me. So the weekly expenses this month, my housing and utilities was $1,080.85. That was helped by a lower cell phone bill, a much lower gas bill. And my other expenditures this week were $203.77. That's where I am at right now. Good times. Good times. I can already say it's 3 days into the next week, and I'm gonna bust my home and garden budget. Because in my head I was thinking that I was gonna be buying more stuff in May for my garden, but I found some stuff in April that I really liked, so I bought them. So yeah, I should have made that more. I think in the end I'll be okay because I think that I don't think I'm going to make that trip. So I think that I'm going to end up having spent less in gas. I probably won't spend the miscellaneous. And I will likely have spent less in restaurant. So I feel like I will still be okay and I won't blow the budget completely. I'll just blow that category just a smidge. Just a smidge. Yeah, not great, but I will see you next week. You'll see how I did. And like I said, I'm not starting off good. Oh well, right? It happens. We have to learn to forgive ourselves. All right, till next week.